And welcome to another episode of the In 90 Minutes podcast. I am your host, Ahmed Salim. Alongside me as every weekend, faithfully, are David Valentin, John Wiedner, and Misael Rosa. Gentlemen, how are you all doing?
Good.
Good, good, good.
Good.
So
Good, good.
welcome to the podcast. Thank you for always supporting us. Thank you for following us on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, Blue Sky at In 90 Minutes Podcast, and also watch us live on Mondays on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, which we're live on Instagram today, TikTok, and Twitch. Please, if you're watching us on YouTube, please find that subscribe button and like it and subscribe to the channel. Sorry, and make sure to share the podcast. We're trying to build our subscription up a little bit, so we'd appreciate it if you could spread the word. We have a lot to talk about today. Some of it related to the game, some of it related to a little bit of everything. Like I say, we're the podcast that tells it how it is, no holds barred. So you can expect a lot of that today. So thank you to those of you who are watching us live. So gentlemen, let's just jump right on in. So around the league, what do we have to talk about, gentlemen, before we get to the match?
No, real quick, to build on what you just said, we're 22 subs away from 500 uh, on um, on YouTube, so that helps us a lot. So if you have a minute, please subscribe, and if you don't watch us at all on YouTube and you enjoy our content, just go on subscribe. Like I said, that helps us a lot. We are getting a lot of eyes on the channel because we are now sharing shorts and stuff like that. Also, to those that are following us on TikTok, thank you very much. Where a lot of the videos are getting a lot of traction. So in the future, moving forward, all four of us, when we go to the games, we're gonna start taking videos and things like that to make the content more diverse. So I just wanted to bring that up real quick. Go ahead, brother.
I had muted myself. Sorry. So I think, Misael, were the Pride off this past week?
Yes, they were off this week. They will be playing this Saturday against. Oops, I am sorry,
No, no, that's okay.
I lost it. But they're playing this Saturday night. In Seattle Rain. This Saturday night, I believe it's 7:30,
All right.
7:30. This Saturday, same night as the same day as the boys play.
All right, great. So please support them in their unbeaten streak at this point, right, Misael? If I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
yes,
Yeah.
still unbeaten.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. One more thing to add. The 2 Saturdays ago, when they played here, their last game against San Diego Wave was the most watched NWSL game in ESPN history.
I was just gonna say, gee, why do you think that is? Do you think maybe it's because it was on ESPN? It's funny because
Yeah,
it was one of the few same times I had actually seen. I was at a bar with my wife and we were sitting there and she was like, "Wait, they're talking about the Pride. It's on ESPN." What a difference it makes when you don't have to go, channel surfing for it and it's on something like ESPN.
And it's
Um,
even worse than channel surfing. I hate trying to figure out what subscription
I need.
any given game's on.
Hmm. It's funny you say that because we were just talking about the college basketball, the NCAA National Championship, which just started, and I went to look at it to see where I could find it, and I had to see what subscription you had to have. It was like either Fubo or YouTube TV or Paramount, or it was just like what a pain. So it is a bit of a hassle, but the score is 10-10 for those of you who are interested. It's Florida playing Houston in the NCAA National Championship. So I'll keep you posted on that. I have it right in front of me. All right. So moving on from there, OCB recently played. They played against, I believe it was Chattanooga, if I'm not mistaken, and they came away with 3 points. They won 2-0. Anybody get to watch it? I did not.
No, I believe my brother, Orlando City, we lost.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at it and I'm being.
No, I know. I actually watched the beginning of
I
the
didn't even
game.
realize today was Monday, so you have to forgive me.
Listen, we forgive you, my brother. You got a busy
I'm
lifestyle.
getting up there in age, so you gotta.
Yes. The No, I watched the beginning of the game because unfortunately they scheduled this game kickoff at 7:30 was obviously the game against Philadelphia. Um, Chattanooga is one of the independent teams in the league, meaning that the guys they have, I mean, are above and beyond the usual talent that we have. Some of the guys that are usually on our bench and then play OCB because of the fact that both came through at the same time, were not able to be there. So we play with a very depleted squad. We put out a good fight, but it wasn't in the cards. First loss of the year, no big deal. With a team that personally is not playing on an even field. Like I was saying, well, the MLS teams are fielding academy kids and prospects. These guys are playing basically gristle USL League One type players, and on top of that. They Chattanooga, on a side note, they played in the middle of the week against the Chattanooga Red Wolves of USL League One. um Went to penalties. Luck wasn't on their way, and on their side, I should say. And what made the international news actually was the fact that the Red Wolves tried to plant their flag in the middle of the field, college football style, and there was a huge fight.
No way.
Yes, and on top of that, the attendance was like 12,000 people. 12,000 people in a basically a college football city.
Yeah.
That is not a destination. It's not on the way to anything. If Chattanooga is just one of these experts of Atlanta, really, and I'm super
Wow.
excited for it, man, because it shows that people care about the product, care about the story, and wants to support football. So this idea that pro relegation or that people won't care outside of the MLS bubble, it's crumbling in front of Donny G's eyes, because for 12,000 people to what surprises me is that these two teams share the same market, the same city, and 12,000 people. And it wasn't like 12,000 people for one team, it was like even split.
Wow.
So to
That must have
me,
been awesome. The,
that
the atmosphere there must have been amazing.
go and watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I encourage everybody to do that. It was a great game, great display. I've been watching Open Cup. If you haven't, do so. And on that note, I would like to real quick go over the schedule. So right now, as the recording of this show, which is April 7th, we are having the the third round starting April 15th and 16th. With the draw for the round of 32 April 17th. That's when we come in. Round of 32, May 6th and 7th. And then there will be a round of 16th, May 20th and 21st, with the final draw to be determined, obviously. The quarterfinals will be July 8th and 9th, with the semifinals September 16th and 17th, and the final October 1st. Once again, Orlando City is the favorite to win Open Cup, so it's ours to lose. So, and we start our campaign on the road, unlike 2022 when basically we played all our games at home. This time we're gonna be on the road.
Yeah,
Nice.
the OCB match, I had it on while the senior teams match was on. Um, the boys did well. You could tell they were missing a couple players. Like we were missing a couple players. Um, and I mean, really, Chattanooga didn't score until their two goals came in the last 15 minutes of the match. Um, didn't see either of them. I saw the replay of the second one in the match, and it was just we were chasing the game, trying to draw even, and they caught the boys out a little bit. But first loss of the season, you're gonna lose. You got to lose one eventually. Might as well be when your team's depleted because the MLS doesn't know how to schedule schedule matches.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. So moving on, I have a name for you all to remember: Clovis Archange. This young gentleman here was just posted by the Academy. He was named one of the top young prospects set to compete in the 2025 Generation Adidas Cup. He's wearing that Orlando City badge, so keep an eye out for him. Who knows? Maybe he'll make it to our starting 11 at some point. That would be very, very interesting, I think.
And
All right.
our U19s are considered the best U19s in the nation at the moment. If you follow us on Instagram, we've been sharing a lot of academy information. So our academy is producing talent. In fact, my good friends, we found out this past week through the oh, by the way, it's the U19 power rankings right now. Orlando City's first, Inter Milan is two, FC Dallas three, Palmeiras four, LA Galaxy five, Austin FC six, Leicester City seventh, Necaxa eighth, Sockers FC ninth, and 10th, the Philadelphia Union. This is for the Generations Adidas Cup. So there you have it. U19s are pretty much one step away from OCB, and to have these young cats, like I like to call them, being top notch, that means that in the future we're gonna have something good to cheer about. Also, like I mentioned before, our good friend Austin David shared some info, and my apologies because I'm scrambling over here to find it. But I don't know if you can remember, guys, a while back, we had a goalkeeper in our academy that decided
Oh,
to,
yes. The one who
yeah,
moved to
to go.
Colorado,
He moved
right?
to Colorado. Great guy. He's especially his mom was very active, and we wish them well. He just basically he had been told, hey, unfortunately, you don't have a future here, but you're a talented guy, and the club found him a space there. So Austin says, the Lions acquire $100,000 in GAM from the Colorado Rapids for homegrown priority to former Orlando City Academy goalkeeper Zach Campagnolo.
Campagnolo.
Yeah, thank you,
Campagnolo.
brother. After his signing to the Rapids organization. Also, Orlando retains any future sell-on percentage in additional to GAM. So that's fantastic news. And also to Zach, I thought he was a good kid, very talented. But if you look at Mercado, you look at uh, obviously the um,
Otero.
Otero. Thank you, brother. That's I was gonna call him Ojeda, Otero, and then you look obviously Pedro Galese. There's unless he wants to sit down for 12 years, I just don't see him finding a space. So the academy not necessarily has to produce talent for our team. Sometimes we produce talent that unfortunately we can't shove through the pipeline, but we can make money out of these players. So
And
big
he's
win.
good, David. Sorry.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say big win for us, and we wish him all the best.
Yeah, he's a player. I started following his mother, his family's account several years ago. I believe he was still in U14s, and this is a goalie that has been a part of the youth national team for his respective age group every year since I started following them.
Really? Okay.
Most recently, I believe he was called up for with the U19s. So he was a guy that I was when he left, when he changed academies. I was kind of surprised. Thought it may have been a family thing. Where he's a kid. You can't. Mom and dad can't just leave you and move off to Colorado. So I thought it might have been something like that. But good for him. Found a new home. They obviously like him out there, and our club will reap the benefits uh, immediately, and then potentially here in the future with a sell on clause when he makes it to the big time and gets sold somewhere. Because I mean, the talent that he has, the ceiling that he has. Um, I really think that he may. There's a chance he may be playing in Europe, um, not in here in the too distant future.
Very cool.
Awesome. And on news unrelated to Orlando City, but stuff that makes me proud of the person that I am,
Get
because
your
I
drinks ready, everybody.
yes, take your drink because this is Stevenage related. This past week, Luther James Wilding, which is he's the starting right back for Stevenage on LinkedIn. Which, by the way, I suggest whatever, or obviously follow Orlando City personnel and the club on LinkedIn, or whatever team you support anywhere in the world. If you are like me and you like the business side of the sport, you get to learn a lot. You get to meet a lot of people. There's a lot of people that in Orlando City that knows us, not because of the regular social media, but because of LinkedIn. So I think I suggest that you do that. Anyways, this young man, 27 years old, just became the tied for most appearances for the club with 252. And I saw that he's posting. He basically tells a story how he got to the club, and a player that I rate, somebody that in MLS will destroy, will kill. My dreams are that one day we get a crossover between both clubs. We'll see. And I sent him a message. Basically, I said to him, I said, "Hey, congrats, Luther. I'm a big fan here in the U.S. Up to Borough." And to my surprise, he responded, "Thank you, David. I very much know who you are. I appreciate it a lot." So that I was shocked, but more shocked. Take another shot. Was that I was watching the game this past week, which, by the way, Stevenage won 3-1, and there was a player for the opposing team that played for the Colorado Rapids, and they didn't know who he was. So live on the air, our good friends Steve and Dean just basically said, "Hey, David, if you're watching, could you tell us about this guy?" And send him some information about him. Obviously, when Dom Dwyer played against Steven H, I was the star of the day. Propping up our OC Lion legend. So that was funny to me. That was interesting. But also, the impact. You never know who's out there watching, and it pays off not to be an ass. It's okay to criticize the team, criticize the players, always be respectful, always be nice. And you see, this young man was like, "Hey, we know who you are in the locker room. Thank you very much for the support."
Nice.
And as of Saturday, Stevenage is over the 50-point magic number, and guaranteeing that it's not going to get relegated. So it's a wonderful thing. But I just wanted to bring that up, because we are I'm single-handedly building bridges, and there's a lot of Orlando City fans in Stevenage now because of me. So anyhow,
Well,
the
and Taylor lives right there too.
yeah, Taylor's for Stevenage, but he lives in Rugby, and
Yeah,
obviously he's gonna be listening to this tomorrow. So I went out Taylor and our good friend uh, Kevin Reese, Orlando City faithful and Stevenage faithful, who introduced me to the club, and I'm eternally grateful to him for that. So that is my friends. So I guess now that we have gone all the particulars out of the way, then we can talk about the snooze fest that was our trip to the city of brotherly love with that nil.
Yeah, man. Okay, so just a little over 48 hours ago, we went for round two with the Philadelphia Union in the city of brotherly love. There was nothing brother. It was a snooze fest, to David's point. And you know what's funny, David? Before we, obviously the result was not what we wanted. We came out with a draw. Um, when I first started watching the game, because I was actually trying to go to a watch party, and I want to ask John about his experience watching. But I was gonna go to a watch party, and then my son was like, "You know what? He played earlier that day. It was a rough game against that same team from from Lake Worth that they came up with like their 16-year-olds dressed like 12-year-olds. But anyway, long story short, um, long story short, when the game started, we were watching it at home. One of the things the announcer said threw me for a loop. Or not the announcers, but the commentators. They were talking about how Orlando is probably going to sit back and kind of wait for Philadelphia
Yeah.
and then counter.
Hmm.
I felt like I was watching Rocky, because Rocky sits there, he takes all the punches, and then eventually he comes back. I was waiting for that comeback. Like, when was that
Yeah.
comeback going to happen? It was not there. So you could say it's a draw, and what really pissed me off was to see the post on the Orlando City. I don't know which social media platform it was, to continue our unbeaten streak. Okay, you can say you're unbeaten. A draw does not feel like you're unbeaten, right? You either win or you don't. It maybe you're unbeaten on paper, but that should feel like a loss, right?
It's a
To
clean
me,
sheet.
what's that?
It's a clean sheet.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Yeah, well, you can call it a clean sheet. Anyway, we came away with a draw. Um, I was not extremely impressed with our performance. Did we, we'll talk about the details of it, but I'm curious to hear about your experience, John, and gents, your thoughts, because I was talking about that I was going to go to a watch party, but I didn't. So,
Yeah, I'll start and give my thoughts on the game as well as what you were talking about. Um, as far as the game itself goes, once I saw Cesar and Atuesta was out, I was like, oh boy, here we go. I knew we were going to sit back. Honestly, in the first half, we probably had the best clear cut opportunity. Um, they're late with I think it was it Muriel,
mhm.
late in the first half, and honestly, we've already exceeded Misael's expectations for this month. He gave it a 0 point month again, so we've exceeded those expectations already. But I mean, it's when you're missing your two starting midfielders for a player that was playing against college kids a year ago, year and a half ago, and then your other holding midfielder hasn't started as midfielder in 3 seasons since he got here. Um, and I thought they did a decent job. They did a good job, for what we needed in the match. I'm honestly less negative on this draw than most draws just because it's against Philadelphia. It's a team that we gave 4 goals up against to begin the season. And,
Mhm.
I think that you put one of the two of Atuesta or Cesar out there, I think I think it changes the match and we control possession a little bit more, even though the possession wasn't that skewed. I think it was 58 to 42% or something like that,
Let me see.
or whatever the math is there. Um, so I mean, it wasn't like I could tell we were frustrating Philadelphia. I could tell Philadelphia really felt like that they had lost that match. They really let the 3 points slide down to one. So I'll tell me what a month and a half ago that we went to Philadelphia and had a draw with Cesar and Atuesta out. I'd probably be pretty happy about it. We stayed. We actually moved up
Yeah.
a spot in the league. We're now, I think we're still 3 points back, or no, 4 points back of first place. And I mean, the top, 9 or 10 are right there stacked on top of each other,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah, we're only
And
3 points behind first.
it is 3 points behind Columbus. Okay, I could not remember. So it is what it is. But yeah, and then what Ahmed was referring to about the watch party. We just recently moved up to the Apopka area, and we're looking for somewhere to watch the match because it was a Saturday match. We didn't haven't really done much since we had to move. So we decided to go out to one of the city pubs up here, Kiwi's Bar and Grill. It's a official Orlando city pub that you can watch the game. So we get there. On the outside, it did have a sign that say no admittance under 21 after 9 p.m. Whatever. We get there, brought my son, met some friends there. They also had a son. We tell them, hey, we're here to watch the Orlando City game. Nothing said to us. Everybody's, they turn the TVs, a couple of the TVs to the Orlando City game. They had the Florida game playing over the speaker on the big projection screen. Whatever, that's fine. So we're sitting there having drinks with our friends, talking, having a good time. The two boys are sitting in the corner. We kind of had a booth that had an L and then two chairs on the outside. The boys were sitting in the corner playing with a fidget toy, not bothering anybody, not, running around like 3-year-olds like to do. They were being extremely good. And then halftime happens. We start to look at the menu to get a bite to eat. And I think I put down the menu and was about to ask everybody, so are we getting something to eat or are we just, having drinks? And one of the servers comes up, mind you, it's like 8:42 at this point. Says, hey, by the way, at 9 o'clock, we're gonna have to ask you guys to leave because you got the little kids. So, my reaction was like, seriously, we're here watching an Orlando City game. Like, it started at 7:30. It's a soccer game. It lasts about 2 hours and 10 minutes from when they say it's supposed to kick off. If it would have kicked off on time, it would have been done at about 9:25. But MLS, they like to make sure their viewers are tuned in and start it 10 minutes after they say they're going to start it. So he's like, yeah, it's almost 8:45 and halftime's not even over yet. I'm like, okay. And the second half takes
Wow.
45, 50 minutes at most. We'll be out of here right about 9:30. We'll make sure we're
Oof.
doing everything. He's like, no, he's like, well, do you want me to go ask the manager? Cause it's our policy. I said, yeah, go ask the manager.
Wow.
And when he left, he looked very afraid, not of me, of asking his manager. So he goes and asks the manager. He says, yeah, the manager said, unfortunately, it doesn't, you guys have to be out of here by 9. And then everybody was like, really? Like, seriously? So he asked if he wanted to get the manager so we can talk to him. So we got the manager. Guy comes up to me, and the instant, and this is coming from somebody that worked in the food and beverage industry on and off in my 20s, knew the guy from the second he was there. And anybody that's worked in food and beverage knows this type of guy that, and I'm going to keep it PG, that thinks he's a big shot because he's a manager at a bar or a restaurant and likes to try to show it.
Wow.
And comes up and hey, what's the problem, guys? I'm like, we have to leave at 9. He's like, yeah, you got 2 kids under 20. I'm like, we're here watching the Orlando City match. Go through the story. He basically is, the server was friendly. He was not. Kind of said, okay, no big, like, you guys have to leave. It's our policy. Our friend even asked, is it like a law or something around here that, no, you're like, no, it's just our policy.
Wow.
Mind you, we've been at, and David's been there too. We've been to Tin Roof. They've had watch parties. Same thing. They're like, hey, technically we're 9 o'clock. Nobody under 21 is allowed to be in here. You're watching the Orlando City game. Just, try to cash out before the game ends and just, show that you're leaving quickly after the game and you guys are fine. Brought that up to him. He wanted nothing to do with it. Their policy's their policy, and they had to leave. I was pretty heated. If it wasn't new friends, I would have probably exploded on him. Because like to me, it's like if you're going to be that hard about a policy, I guarantee you, if I were to come there 2, 3, 4 hours later and looked around, there would be people overserved. There'd be people smoking in there. It may even be, depending on how busy they are that night, because it's not that big of a bar. They're probably over fire code, and those are hard laws that have to be followed, not some random policy because you want to not have kids in there past 9 o'clock. I mean, I don't. Maybe I'm out of touch. I don't know what you guys think,
Oh,
but
man. I mean, listen. I mean, you guys. I go everywhere with my son with soccer and everything, and it's like, listen, I get policies like that, but to me, that's just some plain old bullshit. But really, it's like, that's meant for like the 19-year-old that's trying to sneak in to get some drinks, or like whoever. That's not meant for a family. That you're doing that to try to keep the place a certain type of place, right? So you could probably even argue, like, if I show up my son, he's like 12 or 13 or whatever, you may be like, if they're rowdy or whatever. But like at this point, it's like, give me a break. And it's not even the worst part about it is they're actually like a sponsored place. Like they advertise as an Orlando City thing. So you're
Yep.
talking to me about a team that I support. I'm going to watch the game there. I had a similar situation I was telling you guys before with Tom's Watch Bar, right? I think that's crazy. I think that's insane. I policy is one thing, but you also have to think like that manager is more at fault than any policy, because for them, he should have been like, you know what, guys, don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. And his food is on me or something like that. Right? That's the
Or
right
even,
way to
I
do it.
mean, he didn't even have to do that. A minute, it could have been
No,
like,
but I'm
okay,
saying
we
like to do the
understand,
right
we
thing
care.
for people. I mean,
Yeah.
give me a break. You know what I mean?
When I
It's
even
like-
brought it up to him, and anybody that's been in the restaurant industry, or most people that have been around business whatsoever, know in an industry like food and beverage, it's all about getting that customer to return and come
but that's
back.
what I mean. Yeah, that's why I'm
And I even
saying.
said to him, I'm like, okay, well, since you're kicking us out and not letting us stay, we would have probably been here once a month at least once a month for the next 6 months, just to watch the Orlando City matches. And we're just not going to ever come back again. That's fine. Like, if you want to treat us that way. And I mean, my son Barrett was really, really upset because he was there having fun with one of his friends. Um, through it had been a longer day, but through a fit
Yeah.
because he was leaving his friend and was having a lot of fun, which even made me more mad. But luckily I did it. I'm sure some people saw I went on Twitter or on X and gave my 2 cents, and then Miss Ayao actually had the suggestion of tagging Jared in it, and Jared's always accommodating, and I'm sure as a father he understands where I was coming from, and as a member of the Orlando City community understands where I was coming from. When I reached out to him early on Sunday, he responded to me and basically was like, "Thanks for the heads up. We'll look into it." But
You know what? You know what surprises me, John, about that whole story? Now that I'm thinking about it, and I think somebody mentioned it before. When you walked in, they didn't think to mention it then because they know what you're there for.
oh
You
yeah,
didn't.
that's
You
what
didn't show up
I
at like
was.
2 in the afternoon. You showed up like at what, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock?
It was 7:20. I think
Yeah.
is when
So
we
what?
walked in the
What?
doors.
What do they think? You were gonna leave it? Like you're a pumpkin. You're gonna leave when the clock strikes 9.
Yeah,
Like what the hell? Oh my
and
god.
it's like what like. And that's it's the way they handled it. It's like you were saying before the show, Ahmed. It's like they went, oh, we get some money now. We're not going to tell them, and then we're just going to piss them off later.
Yes.
It's like, now albeit it is more of a divey type bar. It wasn't crazy expensive prices. Um, you
Yeah,
know,
it's just about how you go about it. That's all.
exactly. But it goes to show, I used to live up in this area 10 years ago. Went to school at the golf academy over on Hunt Club that since closed down. Um, and I think I went there a total of 2 times and don't remember why I never went back because I was in my 20s and as a single 20-year-old, you go to bars. But I just remember having basically the same taste I had in my mouth Saturday, the last time I went to Kiwis, and basically never went back there again.
I guess now we know why. Yeah.
We got some comments if we can touch those.
Yeah, sure. I'll pop them up there. Yeah. Here we go. Ray. Ray says, very happy with the draw. He says, he goes on to say, Philly reminded me of Orlando last year. Expected goals was much higher, but couldn't get a win. And then Tour Rep says, I think Thor played really well. I was kind of on onesie because when Brecalo and Schlegel played together, bad things happen. Oh, I think he meant to say uneasy because when Brecalo and Schlegel played together, bad things happen. So thank you all for your comments.
to build on what John was talking about, I'll be very brief on this. I think John covered all the bases. The problem with this is if a bar or any establishment is going to associate with Orlando City and it's going to advertise in Orlando City's media as a Orlando City bar. And my apologies because I just threw the phone on the floor. Hold on a second. um, and you are bringing what for the most part is families, because that's basically what most of our fan base is. And you are going to pull a stunt like this where you clearly know that come 9 o'clock you're gonna turn into a pumpkin, and but you don't say anything because you still want to catch at least some of that dollar. That's a crappy move. So I'm sure that Jared will address that because it was disrespectful to our fan base that has been loyal, that wants to promote all those businesses associated with Orlando City. I personally have done that. I have gone to places that
Yeah.
sponsor Orlando City, and I support them with my dollar because they're supporting my club.
Yep.
So I hopefully it's an isolated incident, and they and other places will learn that if you want to bring us in, because by the way, we're not a rowdy bunch. I've been to plenty of watch parties, and
Uh,
we're not there to destroy the place. It's
I don't know,
usually,
David. You can get a little crazy sometimes.
oh, I don't, yeah, I guess. Uh, I don't know. um, and what you call it? It's usually a family atmosphere. It's just people that really love the sport, and they just and for the most part, when I go to these watch parties, I see the enjoyment of the fans to share their love for the sport with people that are not familiar with football.
Yep.
And to me, that's the beauty of it. When people start seeing, oh wow, these guys took time of their day to come to this bar to watch this. Maybe I should go check it out. Maybe I should go see what is the big hoopla, and then to for that to happen to John. I mean, not for, what an inconvenience. The game. It's being played now. They're kicking you out. Okay, well, go home and figure it out. Watch it on your phone. Unacceptable. So hopefully that will be addressed. And again, the purpose of bringing this up is not to attack the establishment or anything like that. It's just simply to say, if you are going to invite us, the fan base of Orlando City, know that we're gonna show up with kids. We're gonna show up in big numbers. And you know what? One of the complaints that I have heard from some people is that some of these places that show up as a partner, you get to the bar, and if they either don't have the game, or if they show it in a like tiny little screen in a corner.
Mhm.
That's not. I'm sorry. If you see that, if you have suffered that, you have to let the club know,
Yeah.
because the exchange here is we'll give you advertising if you say, "Hey, we are a venue to so you can watch the game," and that to me is it's disingenuous. It's not fair if when we show up in good faith, you treat us like garbage. So that's all to it. We move on. Obviously,
Miss Ione, and I, because I actually went there. Isn't to throw Miss Ione under the bus for hit with his suggestion because he lives up. I'm like, I text him, I'm like, bro, no offense, but I'm never going back to Kiwis to
no,
watch a match
yeah,
again.
fair enough, brother. Fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, like and I know Jared's gonna follow through. I wanted to say this. I was going back and forth all weekend, especially after Jared responded about whether to say something or not. But I'm putting it out there for the time being. If it changes, if Jared reaches out to me and says, "Hey, I promise this won't happen again," give Kiwis another shot, or if one of their owners or somebody reaches out to me and says, there's a misunderstanding. Orlando City games are an exception. We know they last until 9:30. You know, give us another shot. Probably have to throw in a couple of appetizers or something for me to go back. But No, you know, it's I want other families that are in the area because this is the suburbs. There's it's mainly families that live up here. You know, to be aware of it that if they're looking for a place to go, because we almost went to the watch party that was advertised on over in Maitland because that's 10, 15 minutes from us. Um, but we decided to go there. You know, we're like, nah, we don't want to go there. Could be crowded. This will be a little more, you know, our style, if you will, where it's just us. We're there to watch the game, and you know, it's not all the extra stuff that can happen at watch parties. So, but yeah, I know Jared will take care of it. You know, it's water under the bridge now. We just won't go back until somebody reaches out.
Yeah.
It's just weird that I mean, if you think about it, all watch parties, I'm pretty sure they're all in bars, aren't they?
Oh
Like,
yeah, they are all.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've taken my daughters there and stuff like, and they don't kick you out before the game's over. The one that he's talking about in Maitland at the Copper Rocket, that's a bar. Matter of fact, that show Bar Rescue went to that bar and redid that place.
Oh,
And
that's
I'm
right.
pretty,
Oh my God, I didn't
and I
realize that.
can, yeah, and I can guarantee you that they didn't kick anybody out that day. It's just strange. Like it's just what time do you think these games are? They're not in the 1 in the afternoon where you can have a kid there. It starts at 7:30, so guaranteed is 2 hours plus. So you have to make an exception at least for that. Plus, like we said before, in that bar, it's in a different area where you're kind of secluded a little bit. It's a totally different room. I feel like it's just like laziness to not watch people that are under 21 to make sure they're not drinking. I guess. It's like really all you have to do is send a waiter, waitress, by there once in a while. Hey, make sure you take a peek. Make sure
Yeah,
there's nobody, no funny business.
but that's
I
really
mean,
what it's
you
about.
can do that you couldn't do that for half an hour more.
Hmm. Well, and let me say this: the staff there, except for that manager, the server wait staff there were excellent. They, you know, we didn't feel like they neglected us whatsoever. You know, I still, you know, gave them a good tip, and it wasn't anything on the service. It was the way that manager who felt like he had to impose his authority on us for some reason treated us, and the fact that this situation could reflect poorly on the club that we care about. You know, and that's the whole thing. And then, you know, me being a father ended up really upsetting my son and really feeling like we were targeted because we had a young kid watching an Orlando City game. You know, all that
Amen,
combined.
amen on that. I mean, I'm in the same boat, John. So I absolutely understand what you're going through.
Well, I'm
Uh,
happy. I almost invited you guys. I met him. David Misael was invited. He
I'm
got off work late. I
yeah.
almost invited you guys to come up and watch it. I'm glad I
no,
didn't now. I know
I
you
know what I am really glad we didn't because I would have
would have
probably
been
lost
mad
my
to drive all the way up there for
yeah
that, you know?
because it like we said, I mean it. We'll let it go. Otherwise, we could talk about this for a long time.
Yeah,
So,
4 hours. So,
anyway,
guys, to go into the game,
yeah.
uh, I had a different perspective because obviously I watched the game in Spanish, and we had our good friend Sergio and his partner Walter, Orlando City through and through guys. Uh, they basically my assessment of the night, and obviously the guys are gonna have theirs coming up. My assessment of the night: we did not have a Tuesta, and we did not had Araujo on the pitch. That already, makes a bad situation worse. Obviously, as you know, Cartagena's done for the season. Glad to see him posting that he's recuperating. He's already way ahead of scheduling his rehab. Obviously, the season's a wash for him, but it's fantastic to see him like that. His wife follows us, so I'm assuming that he probably watches. I don't know, who knows. So with that said, I think Sergio made the best assessment of the night by saying that we were defensively solid and offensively poor. Um, there were huge chunks of time where we struggled to get the ball to our attacking side. We barely, worried their goalkeeper. And, you can see on the screen the star of the match, Pedro Galese, rightfully so. The man has some impressive. It reminds me of being in Magaluf Beach over there in Palma, Spain, 1996. A story to be told. Met a girl from Manchester. Anyways, let's redirect this back to this. So, so anyhow, so that's that to me. It was not in the cards. We came out with a point. Tying in this league on the road is always it will always something that you don't balk at. Points are points. As you can see on the screen, we're six on the table. Beautiful to see. The fact that a few weeks back we were at the bottom, we were dead last. So, um, you know, um, Philadelphia Union, great club, great fan base. I think there's a lot of mutual respect between us, and it's always a fun game. At the beginning of the game, people were like, "Oh," everybody was saying, "Oh, there's gonna be tons of goals," and there was none. I think Philadelphia should be disappointed. They had the opportunity to score many, many times. They fail. We had two good chances that unfortunately we squandered. Once our good friend Kyle Smith came in, I was like, "This is the harbinger of the white flag." And Kyle Smith, I don't know poop on Kyle Smith. Kyle Smith is a defensively solid individual. He's a closer, man. He's the guy that you throw out there when you want to preserve a result, and he did just that. So to finish, we take the point. We return home to seek the 3 points. I think a lot of people were disappointed because they wanted revenge, right? They wanted the one team that for the first time gives us a black eye on opening day. But it's not how you start; it's how you finish. So good luck to them the rest of the season. As for us, the Philadelphia Union are a thing of the past, and we move forward. Nil-nil results are rare in our league, and unfortunately, it just beat us. Remember, nil-nil results are like making out with your cousin. It felt good, but you cannot brag about it.
Oh,
I don't know if you mentioned there that we showed on the screen for the listeners the debut of Colin. What was his name? How do you say his last name? Gusky.
yep.
Yeah, debut of Colin Gusky. So congrats to him. Um, Angulo, congrats for the night off. You never showed up to Philadelphia. You never took the flight out. The Pasalic, man, the Pasalic shot was great. I wish he would have finished that. I don't know if you guys remember that one. But what I noticed was that the 70th minute, 72nd minute was when we took our second shot. Which, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
No. You just finish. I'll let you.
Yeah, I was just gonna touch on that. That yeah, for a team that's been, I mean, I think we were still number one going into that game with
Yeah.
our front three, scoring goals, and for the 72nd minute to hit 70th, something like that, just to have our second shot was a little wild to me. That's not to take away, I guess, Philadelphia's defense. Like you guys been saying, they're a great team, and well, like David said, yeah, sometimes I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I get it and I agree, but I think the frustrating part it was just how long it took us to get a shot on goal, right? We're bragging about having 13 goals in 5 games, the most goals scored through match day 5. It was right.
Yeah,
What
You
is
see
this
there,
possible?
MLS headquarters, we had 15.
Well, no.
15,
I'm
yeah,
just
15.
I'm going based on the March 26th post, right? Like the one from City. I think
Oh,
there was
okay.
another game, but either way, right? We scored all those goals. Where was that team on Saturday, 48 hours ago, right?
Well,
That
I
was
guess yeah,
I don't
Philadelphia.
I don't care about the draw, right? For me, the draw feels like a loss. It's more about how we played and what we didn't do, what we weren't able to do against Philadelphia. Because for me, the thing is we can score against teams that are not challenging us or are not doing it their best, But when we start to play teams that have their A game on, guess what? That's when we see the problems. That's what's going to happen. If you look back at the games we've had, who were the games that we struggled against? The teams that challenged us, the games that we played well. Where I'm happy we played well. I'm happy we beat LA Galaxy, and we beat LA Galaxy because they may not be doing this completely well. Who else did we win against?
They
Toronto,
still haven't won.
huh? Well,
Galaxy still haven't won a game.
exactly. There you go. Right. So the teams that challenge us is where we struggle. Not even struggle to win, but like in a game like with Philadelphia, I feel like we struggle to maintain. Like you saw it there, but I was like, where was our attack? And
Or is it like you said, where the commentators acknowledged basically that since we're
before it even
playing
started,
Philadelphia, we changed our game
yeah,
plan?
before it started, they said that. I'm like, what are they, like mind readers halfway through the game? I'm like, they called it in the beginning. So what did they know that I didn't?
Well,
Did they assume it because Araujo and Atuesta were not going to be there? That
I mean, already
that's
missing Cartagena is a big deal, and then missing those two guys
because
now, that's
missing those guys, if
huge
that's the
deal.
key, then we have a major issue because everybody else is going to see that, and that's a major
Also,
hole.
the
Brecalo
thing
was the
is
weak link.
that if we had our two starting center backs out, if Janssen and Schlegel were out,
Mm-hmm.
and we still drew that game, let's say 2-2,
Uh-huh.
everybody would be making, I'm not saying us, but everybody
Yeah.
would be making excuses. All our two center backs were out, this and that.
Yeah.
The way Poppy has the team playing this year, especially Atuesta and a little bit to Angulo, but especially Atuesta, is so crucial in our moments of transition, going from the defensive third to that middle third and into that attacking third, especially.
Okay.
The goal the banger that Marco scored a couple weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
If my memory serves me correct, that was all started by Atuesta's pass
Yes.
to what's his face, El Burro, Muriel.
It went to Muriel, yeah, then to Ojeda,
Yeah,
then to
but that
Sanchez,
started
yeah.
with Atuesta.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah.
about the long switches Atuesta's been doing this season when we have possession. And then even more on the attack, Araujo was able to drop back and be that third back that would release our left back going forward, which we really didn't see. One, because we didn't have much possession, but two, because we didn't have that defensive cog that can body up against, center forward strikers, whatever you want to call them, that was dropping back into that that third back situation when we were on the attack. Honestly, when I saw the lineup and I saw that our two defensive midfielders or two holding midfielders were out, I was just at that point I was just hoping we would get a draw, because
Yeah.
you take those two
Yeah.
out, especially Atuesta that controls that, that transition and that middle third of the field, the way that he does and the way that he can, or the way that he can and the way that he does,
Yeah.
really, really hurts us, especially with both of them out. If it was just one of them, that may be a little different, but with both of them out in the same match with, 24, 48 hours notice to the starters, it really didn't give Poppy much time to formulate another plan other than to sit back and hope you didn't, give up a goal. And everybody's talking about Brecalo being the new left back. I think Poppy did that in anticipation for having to bring on a Kyle Smith or a Santos and being able to bring them on and still have a five back set there late with only using one sub. You got to think, if you have Santos out there, they're going to bring Smith on for Santos and Brecalo on for whoever, I don't remember at this point, for whoever Kyle Smith came on for. Was it Angulo he came on for, I believe? So having Brecalo out there, Brecalo's shown with his national team that he can play that left back, and knowing that we're going to be sitting back a little more defensive, I think that was a thing of genius on Poppy's part. And then Gillespie, our defense did such a good job. Gillespie only had one more save than Andre Blake. You know, for as defensive as we were sitting, for Gillespie to only have 4 saves, but then for Philadelphia to give up and make Blake, and 2 of those saves were pretty difficult saves. You know, I my takeaway from that game is that it's kind of a one-off game. It's because of our 2 midfielders being injured. And if worse comes to worse and one of them's injured, we'll be fine because Dagger Dan plays more like a Tuesta, and so does Gervais play more like a Tuesta than they play. We don't really have somebody. Cartagena and Araujo are very similar, and we now don't really have anybody to fill that gap that Araujo filled.
I like Gervais. I think he's been solid for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
We do have
I
2 comments.
I thought he played decent the other day.
Yeah, we got a couple comments. Misael, can you help me out here? I'll put them up for you.
Ray says we had 2 great opportunities on goal and required a very good save from keeper. Early last year, we may have had 15 shots, but nearly as good of possible goals.
Very true.
Serge Nash says John 100% right about wish to draw.
Absolutely.
And
What's up,
one of the things that I noticed too is Breclo did not had his best game. He was torched a couple of times, and if it wasn't for the incredible athleticism of Pedro Galese, we probably would have lost that game. So that's why I'm like, when yeah, 0-0 is awful because people go to games to catch goals, right? We wanna celebrate them, but once again, the reality of getting a point versus getting none is at present. And at the beginning of the season, we have a tendency, and we have done this for the last 4 years, where we drop games like this, especially against a team that we know is a contender for Supporter Shield. Okay, and in uh, Tal Baribo, the Israeli striker, is a very dangerous dude. It's a very dangerous dude. A guy that is already one of the favorites for the Golden Boot. So I have to say that we should be thankful that the game went that way. Water under the bridge. Let's concentrate on what's coming up next, which is Red Bulls at home
Yep.
on a kickoff time that I'm angry about. For Florida, 4:30. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend this game as next week I'm gonna be in South Florida for the next 2 weeks for training, and I have to obviously set some things up here at home. So I was furious at the fact that 4:30, man. It's gonna be a hard one, and if you're on the east side of the stadium, my condolences already. I've been there on that side. 1 p.m. kickoff, 12 o'clock kickoff, and when your phone is in your pocket and he's saying, shut it down, take it to the shade. That's insane. But MLS wants to MLS, so we're gonna do that. I think Red Bulls, I believe, are coming from winning. And my apologies because I wasn't gonna jump ahead this far, but Red Bulls is another team that have we faced them already this season?
Yes.
Yes.
Drew.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was the result?
It was a draw.
It
Yeah.
was a draw. 1-1.
2-2, I believe.
2-2.
2-2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wow.
The Morgan goal and then the
Right.
on.
It was our second game away.
Yeah,
See,
because we played NYCFC. We came home,
right.
we came back, and we played them.
Like I made age is catching up with me. We need to start drinking what's that stuff? Binko Kulova, whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, uh showing on
Yeah,
my
it was
age.
2-2. It was 2-2.
Yeah, brother. So what those guys won their last game, and that was 2-1 over Chicago. Right now, Red Bulls is it's a little it's actually 2 spaces below us. We are sixth, they're eighth. To me, important game because whoever wins it leapfrogs the other. So what we have to, is what we always say: we gotta win the game. Okay, we gotta win the game. Hopefully, we'll have a full healthy roster. But one of the things that I want to concentrate on is, many times when the season's a washed or when we're losing games, people are like, play the kids, right? Let's give them minutes when it's a lost cause. Here we were in the thick of it, and we saw our academy homegrown product taking on the pitch, which to me was incredible. Oscar has said we're gonna play the kids when it makes sense to play the kids. We're not gonna throw them out there because losing teaches nothing. Okay, getting embarrassed and ending up um, in some sort of highlight reel for some old player. It's not gonna build anybody's confidence. And I appreciate the fact that when our guys went in, we were actually trying to win the game. And I have to appreciate also that Philadelphia Union never let the foot off the gas. We earned that point, and I feel that I want to congratulate the guys that went up to Philadelphia, or our fan base in that area that went to support the boys. And I know it's frustrating. You go, you want to see goals, but like I said, football is cruel and unpredictable. We say that all the time, and unfortunately, it wasn't in the cards. It would have been awesome to pull a puppy special, but it wasn't. Now with Red Bulls, this team is the one team that beat us at home and lifted our trophy. That I'm here to tell you, I haven't forgotten that. This is the return to Orlando, 655 West Church Street,
Yeah.
Inter and Co. Stadium. Last time they came to town, they beat us 1-0 and they lifted a trophy. And
Yeah.
my friends,
That was so painful.
yes. So what we gonna do? They come this Saturday, 4:30, where all roads lead to the Purple Palace in Paramore. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna score goals and we're gonna beat them decisively to remind them that it was pure luck that got them there last year. Um, to me, we have to start building ourselves up because once Leagues Cup and Open Cup starts, my friends, and this year there's not gonna be a break for these tournaments. We're gonna be playing them alongside the regular season. We may drop points in the regular season. Why? Because in the regular season, basically 60% of the league makes playoff. At this point, we don't care if you're telling me, hey, do you want to lift a trophy and make playoffs and then hope for MLS Cup? I'll take that trade. So I really don't give a crap about where we end up. We need to make playoffs. So this we need to start like a squirrel, right? We need to start putting our nuts for the winter. And this is a game that is very winnable. I think it's a very good team. And I finished with this. I was when earlier when John was talking, I was actually looking at the predictions for the year for MLS. No one, absolutely no one is giving us anything. No individual awards, even though Martin Ojeda is in the Golden Boot race at the moment. Uh, no individual awards, no making anything. Nobody is counting us in, and that's what I want. That's what I want the boys in that locker room to know. No one outside of the 407, which by the way, happy 407 day to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can tell you this: no one outside of the 407 believes that we can do it. Okay, and I don't know about you, but when you're 5'2" from a small island in the Caribbean, you're gonna hear a lot of people telling you can't do it, and you are not going to make it happen, and and you're gonna hear a lot of no's. Well, I am here to tell you that if I had I listened to those that talk, I would still be sitting in my living room, in Puerto Rico, hating life and wondering what ifs. But I didn't. I went and I went for it, and that's why I want from my club. I want people that go out there and prove them wrong. because we want to lift trophies and put grab our fingers and tell them, guess what, you were wrong. So I'll shut up, let the guys talk. But guys, we have to start believing. We gotta pull our internal Rocky and we start climbing those stairs again. Believe that we can make it happen. But thank you, my brother. We gotta remember that wins are born in the hearts of the players. We can't train them till the cows come home. If oh, and I'm gonna steal one thing from our good captain, the Viking, Robin Jansen, that players train. What is it? Players practice, champions train. So let's do that.
Yes, did you see that? Did you see that about the camp he's doing? I actually spoke to Uri Rosell, and he may be able to join us to talk about that camp for a few minutes at some point leading up to that camp
Oh,
that
that
they're
would be
doing.
awesome.
Nice.
Forty
Yeah,
Russell, Orlando City. No, I wouldn't call him a legend because he was here briefly, but
yeah, yeah. I
incredible
reached.
guy, and a product of Barcelona. So
Hmm.
if
Yeah,
he wants to be on,
yep,
absolutely.
yeah. After I saw that post that they were gonna have another camp with him, I reached out because I had taken my son to the previous one, and I invited him on. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to have him on within the next couple of weeks. So that'll be fun. It's always fun to have a different perspective like that. So,
But yeah,
all
I
right.
mean, to me, the upcoming match, the biggest difference in it between when we played them last is going to be Janssen. It was Janssen's second match back from his injury, and
Mhm.
he showed he was coming back from an injury. He made one big mistake to begin with, giving up the first goal, which was the penalty last against Red Bulls. And then the second goal, he kind of, I don't know if it was a lack of communication between him and Schlegel or if he just lost his man cutting across. But that was his man to guard cutting to the near post that ended up scoring for Red Bulls. So, um, I really feel like that as long as our midfield's back to being healthy, because apparently it was just precautionary this past week. But if we have a full squad, regular starting lineup, we should, and it's at our home. Um, I think we should be able to handle Red Bulls pretty easily. Not like we did Toronto or DC earlier in the year. I'm saying like maybe 2-0, possibly 3-1, something like that. But I'm looking for Marco to have a huge game because he tore them up. He tore them up when we played them last. And the other thing is Muriel is playing, even though Saturday's match again, I'm going to count that as a one-off. Even then, he still had moments of brilliance that showed. So I feel like he's really coming into form, and I think if we have one of our two midfielders back, especially if Arujo's back, I think we'll be good to go and bring home or keep the 3 points at home with us.
All right. So we're just about 4 days out from the game. 4 days, 18 hours or so. Saturday, April 12th, we're welcoming the Red Bulls. It is Kids Night Out, and the club posted that if you have a child who's interested, you can submit an audition video up until April 9th. If they're interested, they could submit an audition video to be a PA announcer, stadium host, or reporter for the Kids Night Out. So if you have a
That's
child
awesome.
who may be interested, I think that would be a lot of fun for them,
Yeah.
especially when they get to tell the supporters to watch their language.
Yes, and absolutely. And take your shot because I'm about to say Steven just did that last game, and this is what we have said many times on the show that the not every kid that plays in the academy or plays a sport is gonna be the next superstar. What happens when kids play the game or get involved in events like this
Hmm.
is that either they become lifetime fans or they find a way to work in football.
Yeah.
A kid manager, nutritionist. By the way, Orlando City's hiring a nutritionist. Is looking for a nutritionist right now. Throw your resume out there if you're a nutritionist. Um, the you know the team is a machine with a lot of moving pieces. And if I could go back in time and I was in high school again, probably I would have gone differently. I mean, I love my job, but I love football more. So I would have loved to be either a referee or something. I don't know. I would have loved to do that. So I think it's a great initiative from the club and from the league as well. And so yeah. So always remember that when you bring the little ones, we have said it in the show, the kids are the future. We are already basically middle-aged people. What we got left, 20, 30 years, and the kids are gonna take over. And time flies by. My kids were toddlers when Orlando City came to be in USL, and now they're almost grown men. So, I've seen over the years guys that were like teenagers now grown. We have seen for the first time we're starting to see uh, kids that were exactly I call it anybody that is under 30 a kid. So excuse me, we're starting to see players from the academy that were babies when Orlando City was founded. People that went to the games as kids, and now they're playing on the pitch. We're starting to see that. So I think we are accused. Oh, you guys got no history. It's a 30-year-old league. Blah 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 blah. But you got to start somewhere. The EPL did not. It wasn't born out of thin air. You know what I'm saying? Well, it was, but it's the thing that I hate when people are like, "Oh, my club is 100 years old." Well, 100 years ago there was a guy that started the whole thing. Okay,
Hmm.
so while most people have been blessed to be born into a fan base with traditions and history and trophies and all that, we are pioneers. We're trailblazers here. So kudos to the team for that event. Like I said, unfortunately, I won't be there, but
And one
the
thing I saw, got an
Bible.
email on late last week also. I don't know if I'm guessing you guys didn't see it. Was they're also doing a coloring contest thing where kids can draw a picture
Oh
and
no.
submit it to them to be shown on the big screen during the match.
Nice.
No, I congratulations to the club for the initiative. I think we need to start investing more on the kids. And one of the things that I have mentioned before is that in the preseason events that we have, let's have 3v3s a tournament for the kids. Let's try to do things like that. I think I see my overseas clubs doing those type of initiatives because once again the reality is that the fans have to be replenished somehow, right? We have to we have to plan for the future. And while maybe Donny G doesn't care about the future, doesn't he cares about the right now, catching the messy checks. But the reality is that we need to invest in who we are in our community, and the beautiful game of football. Do we have any more comments? Do we
Yeah,
have
we
new
have a couple. We
comments?
have a couple
Yeah,
comments.
go ahead, brother.
Comments. Let me pop them up on there. Uh, Ray says. Ray says game one versus game two versus Philly. Difference Johnson. I'm assuming is what he tried to say. And then Jim D says, I'll have to listen mañana. Keep up the good work, fellas. Thanks for the entertainment. Thank you for your support, sir. It's always a pleasure to hear from all of our supporters. And again, just a quick reminder, if you do not currently subscribe to our YouTube channel, please find that subscribe button. It's right under the video. Hit it, add to that subscriber list. We're trying to hit that 500, so we would truly appreciate your help.
And like it as well because the likes count.
Yes.
Yes, and this past week we had 8 new subs. The week before that we had seven. Uh, One thing that you should know, we started doing the shorts, and we reached out to 4,000 people on shorts alone. So I was telling the guys, hey, when we go to the games, let's start recording and like uploading those little pieces, the perspectives, this, that, the other. Our idea is to reach out as many people as possible. Obviously, when you produce content, you want to be seen, you want to be heard. I have said it. To me, I just want to talk Orlando City with Orlando City fans, and as long as my mom is watching, I'm okay. I'm cool. So I don't have to have like 700 people watching me. But if you like the content, please share it with friends and family, and hopefully we can get some 3 points this coming up weekend.
I wanted to ask you guys, what you guys think lately about the MLS posting the like wrong stuff? Like the other day, they posted that we only had 13 goals when we had 15, and then they were posting like Suarez has better numbers than Ojeda, which what was it like a MVP power ranking? I guess
It was
for
just
so
yeah, it was
far.
just the MVP power rankings. It was Sasha Question, who is always gonna dog on us because frankly he shouldn't have even been on the pitch when he played for us. Um, yeah, he ranked Bucktooth McGee.
Suarez,
I remember
yeah.
Suarez. Um, higher than Ojeda in his MVP rankings. Whatever. Like to me, that's like you know it's the name. He's just doing that so people see it and he gets views on it. The just like David was saying for the for the league and the playoffs and everything, we're always going to be counted as out and short because we do things the right way and grow from within and don't you know buy players that are just looking for retirement while they get paid. So yeah, and I forget what I was going to say.
They posted Philadelphia, I think, with the amount of goals that we had.
Yeah, they said Philadelphia had 15 goals and we had 11. Neither of us had 11 coming. Well, we still, neither of us still have 11. It was we had 15 and Philadelphia had 13 going into Saturday.
Giving
And
us
it's
no
just like
credit.
I quoted it on the show's X account, and I just don't know how you can have a organization that runs a sports league just be consistently so unserious.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you, I'm gonna tell you how. When you allow a straight up handball, and you don't call it because you want Fifanel Pesi, Infantino's prodigal son, to score a equalizer before halftime, and then you go online and you feed the idea that he like score at the death. So every third world burger flipper and goal herder can go nuts about their failed hero. That's what happens. That's what happens. I keep saying it. I keep saying it. After I watch the two Chattanooga teams go at it this past weekend, it is my belief that when USL implements promotion relegation, it will be the end of MLS.
MLS won't
Laugh,
let that
laugh,
happen. They have too
laugh,
much
laugh
money.
about it.
They'll merge.
Whatever. I have watched enough football these last 31 years to know that the serious fan is tired of this charade, where this league has the audacity. And I'm gonna go hard, Sasha. I'm gonna go hard on you now. I'm gonna go hard on you because John let you out. He let you easy, but I'm not. I'm hard. I'm stiff. Listen, when you came to Orlando, you laid an egg with
Oh,
us, and yeah, I'm gonna be careful. Don't worry, brother. You laid an egg with us, and you were sent packing to LA Galaxy because your brother works in the team, and he got you a mercy spot there. But you were finished. You were finished in Trinidad when you allowed our team to get eliminated by a team that had no business that night doing anything. But let's not talk about that, Sasha. Let's talk about how you got in fights with your tune in the middle of a game because you felt that things needed to be done your way. You were not the captain, sir. You came to Orlando, you did nothing. and you don't take ownership at the disaster that you left behind in your wake, which by the way you got paid handsomely for it. So what do? You throw eggs at us at every opportunity. The fact that you go and you say, well, I'm an analyst, and for that reason, I'm going to pick Luis Rabies, Rabies shot boy extraordinaire. A guy that should be peddling advertising for orthodontist. That's what that he should do. Okay, the only place for Luis Suarez, Uruguayans are gonna have to forgive me. The only place for a dirty player like him in a stadium is parking cars, maybe working a concession. That's the only place where a trash human being like that belongs. How you gonna put that man with one goal and two assists ahead of the Argentinian sensation
The
that is
best left foot in the
Martino?
league.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Best left foot in the league.
Wow.
And
Come on,
Ojeda.
guys. And and I
But could you imagine, real quick, David? You
go
just
ahead,
it just
brother.
popped in my mind. Could you imagine Suarez working in concessions? You'd get your hot dog, and there'd just be a giant bite right out of the middle of it. Could you imagine? I mean, you'd go to get your popcorn, and the bottom corner would be gnawed off with popcorn leaking everywhere.
Listen, let's remind the people that Luis Suarez got out of his contract with Grêmio in the Brazilian league, claiming that he was finished, that he had to inject himself in the knees to go out there, only to go and sign for Inter Miami. That already tells you a man that has no honor, no integrity. That's the guy that Sasha Kleshton is going to promote as the quote unquote runner up for the Golden Boot slash MVP. Come on, people.
He still claims that he does that. He says that he has to start like a whole process like 3 days before in order to play.
Re- and listen, I gotta finish with this because we're not a Inter for Lauderdale, Coconut Grove,
I
FC.
don't care who it was, who he put over him. It could have been, you know, uh, Benteke ahead of him. I'm just throwing a name out there. Somebody else in the league that scores goals. The fact of the matter is, Ojeda leads the league at this point in the season in total goal contributions,
Mm-hmm.
assists, and goals. If that's not an MVP, the MVP is not supposed to be, oh, you won the Golden Boot, here's also the MVP, which is what in this league it's turning into. It's supposed to be the most valuable player of a team. And in my opinion, Ojeda rightfully deserves it. Without Ojeda, how many goals do we score this year? 2. He has, I think it's 13 goal contributions. We've scored 15. 2.
Yeah, but we have to make room for people. And I'm gonna tell you, disrespectful to Ty Baribo, who is an incredible player that with a lot of pedigree, definitely hurt us really bad on that first game of the season. But Benteke again, another player that, in my opinion, in a better team, could be having double, triple digits. But the problem here is that I gotta tell you, I'm gonna step to the side and let raw emotion. I'm just sick and tired every time I see league post and everything. It's all Miami. The the podcast media obviously attracts a lot of attention from a lot of soccer specific media, because we're a podcast, and everything is always Pessy and and Luis Suarez and Inter Miami. How many points? How many goals? And then you have to read the comments. People that don't live in the United States, people that don't pay to watch the games, people that all they do is just watch the highlight reel, or they go in there and they go, "Oh, MLS is better than the Camel League and Penaldo." I just I just want to go with a blowtorch and just send them to hell where they belong. I just so tired. I'm so tired of our league being a mockery of this Finnish player. This is why I have personally told Oscar Pareja that I don't give a rat's behind what happens this season. We gotta beat them and beat them at home. If he decides to show up in Orlando, which I doubt it.
And you bring up a good point, David, and I kind of alluded to it earlier. People are talking about, oh, Orlando City should sign Mueller because he's leaving Bayern this year. People should sign Kevin De Bruyne. Are those guys great players? Yes. But that's not what we do here right now in Orlando. Muriel being the exception, but he wasn't getting playing time anyway. You look at what we're doing in Orlando, we take players that nobody's heard of, that are generally younger players or from our academy. We take them, we plant the seed in them, we make them grow, and then they become, like Facundo Torres or Cesar Araujo, Duncan McGuire, you look Anthony Freeman. You look at these guys that, especially with Cesar and Facundo, we brought in as Facundo was a U22 initiative at first, I believe. Same with Cesar. And you look at where they're at. I mean, look at the clubs this past transfer window that were trying to get us to sell Araujo. Look at where Facundo ended up. One of the top clubs in Brazil. He's been starting for them recently, doing very well in Brazil. You look at the players our academies produced, our reserve teams produced, players that traditionally play on the youth national teams. That's what builds a great soccer club. That's what builds a culture of winning. Is that not buying these players that are well past their prime, that will give you 1 maybe 2 years, and if you sign them to a 3-year contract, that third year is basically washed, is basically wasted. I don't want any of those old players. As big of a Cristiano Ronaldo fan as I am, people were yelling a couple years ago to get him. This past year, there was rumors he might be leaving the Saudi league. People were, no, that's not who we are. We don't need these age players that are using this as a paid retirement. And it's better for the league the less of these players that come here. Give them to the Saudi league.
A Ronaldo here, and we play against Miami versus Messi, and Ronaldo versus Messi again. You're talking about money.
Oh my God.
For the league.
Yeah, I mean, well, that'll bring the team money as well.
Listen, I will take my seats and gladly put them up for the season because you're not going to want to attend a single one of those games, bro.
I don't want
he's like, he'll go.
I don't want my club, especially with a player like a Ronaldo or a Neymar, I don't want my club to become the sideshow that is Miami.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
the talent is great. I'm not going to lie. My son would love to see Cristiano Ronaldo, but if that were to happen here, it would just turn everything into a circus, which to John's point, that's what's happening with Miami. If
All right, guys, we have reached the 90-minute mark.
All right.
And I want to thank everybody that has watched us live. Everybody, encouraging everybody, please follow us on social media. We try to stay active in all our social media, so you guys have a reason to follow us. Like I said, I encourage everybody to go support the boys. Trust me, I am so angry that I can't attend this game, but that's life when you're a father and a husband. And also to our Jewish audience, wish them a happy Passover season. Saturday at sundown, the feast of unleavened bread starts. So enjoy yourselves. I will be at the Seder Sunday as in every year, and then next Monday, I'm gonna be directly from my hotel room in Fort Lauderdale. So be on the lookout. I know you guys gonna be missing Ivy's antics for 2 weeks, but I'll be there. and hopefully talking about a win. With that said, guys, final words.
Not much. Just get a win. 3 points on Saturday. Got to maintain Forsberg and Moting. See if we can hold them down, and that'll get us the W there.
Yeah, same. We need the points. We need the points, and we need to show that we can beat those teams that give us a hard time. And also, just to clarify, I said we were 3 points behind first. It's actually 4 points that we're behind first, because I believe Columbus is at 15 points, and we currently have.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah,
Excited for this Saturday. It's going to be my first match in a month. We missed the last one because we were moving.
lucky you. You get to be at the daytime one.
Honestly, and I know we're running against time, but honestly, I was looking at the weather. It's going to be a beautiful day. It's not right now, and it's stayed steady. It's supposed to be 78 and sunny.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Overnight low of like 56. So it should be, should be a beautiful day for it. Couldn't have picked a better day.
I could deal with that.
And obviously, the league wanted to do it early in the season because you don't want to do a 4:30 p.m. kickoff in the middle of July or August in Orlando.
Ooh.
That'd be miserable.
Yep. All right. So if nobody has anything else, we'll get ready to wrap it up. So we're going to leave you the only way we know how, reminding you that football is played on grass, not on paper, that football is cruel and unpredictable, that football is a pound of talent and an ounce of luck. And if you have not cried for joy or anger over football, have you really ever footballed? For Misael, John, David, and myself, may God bless you. Oh.